Hi, my name is Jim Sorensen. I get to talk to you about a course today called The Pursuit of Excellence. Now, something I do besides give this talk is I'm an illustrator, and the pinnacle of that profession is NBC decided to do an afternoon special on my work. And I was so excited, I called up anybody I'd ever met. And I decided to watch it too. And I was sitting there watching myself on television, and about every third word, I smacked my lips. It was just, well, what I think about is I did that through the entire program on national television. At that moment, I got an insight. And the insight was, I wish I'd known this before. And if I had to encapsulate all the value of this course for me, it is in that. I believe you are very capable, very intelligent. But the truth is, the number one way we tend to learn in life is trial and error. And my judgment is, if you take this class, you get to see what you don't presently see. So by getting some good insights, some good tools in this course, it can potentially save your butt out there. Very simplistic, that's what it is. I was not living in a cardboard box. I did not weigh 800 pounds. I was very successful in my career, but I knew there was something a little bit off, but I didn't know what that was. In this 2.5-day course, I figured out what it was. And it has been working for people for over 30 years. So I'm going to talk about what we cover in the course, some of the main bullet points of the course, but even more important to me, I'm going to talk about why this course stands out from all the other courses that are out there. Well, your work on there is one is breaking patterns. Our brains love patterns. We get stuck in these well-worn neural pathways. I mean, think of how many of you have really wanted to change, and you may change for a couple of days, but you go back in that old familiar pattern. This is about not only recognizing what the pattern is, but how to break out of that pattern. The second thing we work on is accountability. One of my favorite phrases growing up was, if they were different, I'd be fine. And I think the problem with that is it's true. If they were different, I would be fine. Now, this course is about embracing. See, I'm not a big fan of positive thinking. I'm a fan of effective thinking. It's about really embracing the reality of the situation to really own that situation and move towards the results that I want. And that's the next point, is about making choices. So what choice is about is to really get clear, what do I want? Not what you want for me, not what other people want for me, but have a real foundation. This is what's important to me, and start making choices in that direction. And this is not about being selfish. This is about what are my needs, what's important to me, and if I'm in a relationship with somebody, what's important to them, and how to blend those together. Because often what happens, if I give up my needs for another person, what happens, I'll end up resenting them. Or if I'm in that entitled place, only I'm important, they will resent me. So it's how to make choices and improve the quality of my personal and my professional life. Conflict resolution. I think, how many of you hate the thought of stepping into conflict? I think many of us do, because often when we move into conflict, we hurt quality of relationship. So this is how to resolve those issues to actually help the relationship. I think often, how many of you have ever walked into an office and in your gut, you can feel all the unresolved issues just walking in, or walked into a family reunion? See, this is how to really, I think many relationships are destroyed by that undercurrent. Everything we should be talking about that we don't talk about. This is how to effectively bring those things up in a way that actually enhances relationship. About creating agreement, about clearly and directly asking for what I want. Whenever I think about this module, I remember back to an 8th grade dance. I'll never forget that dance. I spent the whole evening rejecting myself and other people's honor. I know she's a no, and she's a no, and she's a no. There's actually some people that danced that night. And the difference was, they asked. I think many of us, we fear rejection so much, we reject ourselves. Stress reduction. So how to risk? Because I want you to know, we talk a lot about the willingness to step out of what is comfortable. And even when we talk about what is comfortable, I don't mean what feels good, I mean what is familiar. So how to break out? I mean, how many of you know somebody that by your judgment is in a very unhealthy relationship, but they stay there because they get used to it? So what this is about is how to risk and reduce the amount of stress that is inherent in going after what you really want. Building confidence. So how incrementally, it's not how can I act confident, I think we can all smell the difference in that, but how to really build up my own internal sense of self-confidence and in turn build up my own sense of self-worth. Relationship effectiveness. I did not go to this course for relationships. Actually, a term for me when I took this course was infatuation vampire. I was really good at starting relationships. I didn't know what to do with them after that. And if I had to pick the number one thing I got out of this course, was relationships. When I took this course, I couldn't put a relationship together to save my life. I now have been with my wife for 27 years. It is the best decision I've ever made. And this is not, I remember this was about 15 years ago, a man came up to me and said, you know, what I most admire about you is the quality of your marriage. Actually, he didn't even say that. What he said, what he admired me was my commitment to my marriage. And when I told him, I said, you know, I'm not committed to my marriage. And he looked a little shocked at that point. I said, I am committed to the quality of my marriage. Every day, what can I do to make this a great marriage? Because sometimes when people talk about commitment, it sounds like they're talking about a death sentence or a prison sentence. To me, it's about, since I'm going to be with my wife, Brenda, for the rest of my life, how can I make sure this is an amazing place to be? And in there, you get specific tools on how to do that, how to build that. A term I like is emotional capital. It's also been called relationship capital, social capital. But I bet all of you make mistakes at times. Now, think of emotional capital like a bank account. There's a bank account between us. And with every interaction, I'm either making a deposit or taking a withdrawal from this account. This is about really how to build up that account. So if you make mistakes, they say things like, you know why it's okay? Because it's you. If you have little or no emotional capital, you know why it's not okay? It's you. So this is really what to do on a daily basis to really build up the quality of your relationships. And the last is completion. I know many people that are very good starters. This is not only about how to start great, but how to stay in for real completion. Now, I love every one of the tools that you'll get from this course. And I think if all you did was assess this course from a tool foundation, it would be a very valuable 2.5 days spent by you. But I think what makes this course the best I've seen is not the tools. What you'll work on in there is not only great tools, but to really work on the mindset for using those tools. Just like how many of you know somebody with a shiny box of tools that doesn't fix anything? Or know somebody with very few tools and you know they can get the job done? The top insight of my life came when I was 18 years old. I was on a riverboat in the Mekong Delta during the Vietnam War, and I was in a pretty extreme situation, but I'll bet every one of you have had this same insight. How many have ever seen two people in the exact same situation? One was destroyed by it, the other one was strengthened by it. My insight at 18 is reality means nothing. It is your perception of reality, your context, that makes all the difference. Every one of us, we have our beliefs, we have our attitudes, we have our opinions. And if we hold them long enough and strong enough, they simply become the truth. And that is a filter that we look at all life through. Simple example, I want you to think someone in your life that really, really didn't like you. They had a context of you that you were bad. So I want you to think, if you did a good thing, did they even notice that? No, see, it's filtered out. Or if they do notice it, they'll make an anomaly. Okay, you did one good thing out of 10,000. Or they might even turn it into a bad thing. Let's see, you're being nice to me, so something evil's about to happen. Now, if you do a bad thing, they notice that, because that's their truth. I think something we see a lot, you see one politician stand up and do the exact same talk. One person thinks it's evil, the other person thinks it's brilliant. So what this is about, I think very simplistically, is our need to be right. And I promise you, when you take this course, you will not lose your need to be right. What you'll do is be right about the right things. I mean, how many know somebody that you really believe thinks life is hard and terrible? What they will do is they will gather evidence to prove that. Or if they think life's an amazing gift, they'll gather evidence to prove that. That is how our brains work. Whatever our context is, we gather evidence to prove it. So that what happens in this course is not only do you get very good tools, but you really work on the mindset behind that. I mean, we have people extremely successful in their professional career, and many of them work on relationships. We have people that are very good relationally that work on their professional career. And the truth is, I think the people that get the most out of it are doing good in all areas of their lives, and what they do is do fine-tuning. So regardless, if you have work to do in your relationships, in your career, or you just think it's time for a good fine-tuning, I would invite you to take this class. Now, the good news about this class, and to be perfectly honest, the only thing that got me into this course is it was fully guaranteed. My friend told me that if I took this course and I didn't get what I just talked about, that they would refund all my money. And I want you to know, it's a very easy refund, and in the history of this organization over 30 years, about 0.5% of people ask. That is how good it is. So if you're curious more about this course, go to our website, contextinternational.com. And if you want to talk to a live person, they'll show you how to do that. If you want to read about the information, it'll be there for you. I hope to see you in the class. Thank you.